So the one below says they wanted you to make it less than 5 bars. I mean, if you made it with 5 bars or more, that's fine. So honestly, 1 and 2 could have been the same, or you could have changed a little bit. But notice on the second one how there's a little space between the 5 to 7 and the 9 to 11, and that's okay. I mean, histograms do touch, but sometimes you might have a gap in your data, and that's okay. And says leave your 5 to 10 bar histogram, identify a couple things you notice. It appears to have a little bit, like if I were to play connect the dots, it looks like I could have something called a normal curve, which we'll talk about. And if you don't know that term yet, that's okay. We'll talk about that more. Information, less than 5 bars, less than 5 bars. You know, maybe less than 3 bars like that was up there. You don't really have as good of a shape to the data, and that's kind of what we're aiming for with this class. Can I move off the screen? Good. And the back side. All right. So why is number 4 not a good histogram? So they're using categorical. Okay, so that would make it a bad histogram. But it also, you don't want pictures. Pictures are bad. You want just rectangles, boring old rectangles. I know people want to get cutesy and they feel it shows their data so much better. 5, what argument is supported by this bar chart? So basketball prices ballooned more than the baseball. I mean, they made the balls different sizes, so they're different widths, so that's a big no-no. It's not a fair representation because the different balls they use are all different sizes, so you're not maintaining the widths. And then this one was probably the toughest. Create a rough bar chart. So they have each of the years, 91, 2001, 91, 2001, between the two different things. Just created a bar chart based on the millions in the y-axis, I think it was, or maybe it's just dollar amount. I can't really see it as well. So that's kind of the ins and outs of that. And what aspect of your bar chart is a better representation of the data? Well, what you have drawn on number 7, you have the appropriate width, okay, which is great. You don't have pictures, you have boring rectangles. So that's basically that. And then both sports look like they roughly doubled their prices in the tenure or the decade that it's talking about. So, I mean, have athletics tickets gone up in price? Sure. Unless you go to the Rockies game and I can't seem to give away tickets. I heard the Rockies this summer during one of their games had the lowest attendance on record of any Major League Baseball game. Something like 630 people went to the game. So I think the Rockies need to take a good look in the mirror and go, what are we doing? It's in the summer. And it was a nice day.
Maybe it's too hot.
I don't know. The only time I went to Rocky Stadium this summer, I went and saw Billy Joel. My wife and my kids. That was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, piano man. It was kind of wild. This Billy Joel played a.
Oh, you went?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Where? Which one?
At baseball stadium.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. Well, what was funny is he gets on the microphone, you know, almost before every song and just says, "Hey, this, you know, came out in this year, and you know, off this album." Well, there's one song he played. It came out in 1976, and I'm listening. I don't hear it. I turn and I look, and my daughters are both singing it word for word, and it was made popular on TikTok or something now. Vienna. Yeah. That's exactly it.
You don't know Vienna?
I don't. I didn't.
I thought you were going to say Xanadu.
Zanzibar is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I were looking at our daughters going, you guys know this? Like, my wife and I were alive in 76 and we never heard it, so. But I guess it became popular on social media. So I thought it was kind of cool. So he kind of played to all audiences, which is great. All right. So today, go to that page. It's the review. It's the following pages in your workbook. So I don't really have a lecture today. And this would be helpful because on Monday when I'm not here, you guys will have your first quiz. The entire quiz will be the fair share and revise and so out. So when the sub is like, oh my gosh, you got a quiz, and they're all working together. That's what you're supposed to do. All right.
Don't look. You dropped the ball.
All right, so let's walk through this together. So what are the differences between categorical and quantitative variables? What do you think? What's the difference between a category and a quantity? What?
Categories like characteristics.
Yeah. So the categories could be like you're counting the number of people's, hair color, or style of shoes, or car that they drive, or college they're going to go to, or which military service they might choose to go to, things like that. Those are categories. Quantitative is actual numeric number of it. Okay? And then explain why. Oh. So we didn't really discuss a dot plot yet, but I'll give you the answer to it. Explain why a dot plot is a poor choice for continuous variables. Well, a dot plot is just that. This is what a dot plot looks like. So you have your XY axis. So that's a dot plot. So if it's continuous data, these would have to be connected. If I have to pick my pencil up to draw a region, that's not going to be continuous. So a dot plot is you just be counting a discrete number of things. Okay, it's not continuous data, something like that. So name 3 variables you might find on your driver's license that are categorical in nature. Eye color, hair color, your driver's license number. Okay. So those are all things that you might see on there. Maybe your address or the city you live in or the state that your license is from. Those are all categories of some sort. Yeah.
When's your birthday again, Alice?
I think you could do that. That would be good. That's good. Good call. I like that. So name 3 variables that for problem 4. 3 variables you might find on the driver's license that are quantitative. Yeah, AJ. Height, weight,
Age.
age. I think those are all good things.
How many atoms are in the card itself?
Oh, that's oh. Yeah, there's all kinds of different things. Do you know that when I was a kid and I got my driver's license, so Arizona used to do this with their driver's license. So you filled out on a piece of plastic/paper. It was about this big, and it was filled out. It was handwritten, and your social security number was your driver's license number. And so then they would take this card that was this big, because that's too big for your wallet, and they literally put it in something that looked like an easy bake oven. And it would go through this thing, and it would heat it up, and it would shrink it down to the wallet size that it is. That was how our driver's licenses were done back in the day.
So shrinky dinks?
Shrinky dinks, yeah, that's exactly it. So it's just kind of funny. So useless knowledge about my life that you now have. What are the key differences between a bar chart and a histogram? Yeah. Histogram, they all have to touch. I like that. What would I list on a bar chart that wouldn't be on a histogram? Well, a bar chart, you have categories, okay, which would be the number of items, making that as rectangles. So if you did the city you lived in, and you counted up the number of people, that would allow you to do a bar chart. If you were to, basically take people's ages in high school and an ACT score, you can make a histogram out of that. And you would have to change your categories, your widths of your columns, to get it down to 10 or less.
Histograms are what, categorical?
Bar charts are.
Oh, bar charts.
Yeah, so the main difference between the two is like this. A bar chart might look like this. Blue, brown, and green eyes. That could be eye color. And this is the number of people that are in each category. So this would be a bar chart. Your histogram would look like this.
Is that they touch?
Yeah, they touch. So something like that. So this would be the number of people. So that's the same. Or number of items. So people could be items as well. And then you have this as a range. So from 0 to 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, something like that. Okay? So this is your histogram.
Okay.
So histograms have ranges.
Yeah, so if you were to so if we did like the birthday thing, which if we give us 12 bars because there's 12 months, but let's just pretend we're allowed to do that for right now. We could say, oh, look, we have 3 birthdays in January and 5 birthdays in February, things like that. And that would dictate how tall it would be. All right. And then what you would label on the bottom, you go 0 to 1, to 2 to 3 to 4, all the way to 12. All right, the table below shows the results of a survey regarding percentages of Americans who have visited each country. Explain why a circograph would be inappropriate in this situation. So what do you think?
They don't all add up to.
Yeah.
Add up 2 more letters.
Right. Say, hey, what would be one of the reasons why would, looks like we have Canada, Mexico, UK, France, and Russia. You have 56% that went to Canada, and you had 52% that went to Mexico, 40% UK, 28% England, 25% to Russia. Those are all percents. So those add up to be more than 100%, but the reason why each category wouldn't add up to 100% is you might have people who might have went to Canada, Mexico, and the UK. And so they're counted in each of the categories. So if I add all those up, they don't come up to 100%, so that's not good for a pie chart. Okay? And a pie chart should or should not be 3D.
Should not.
Should not. Big no-no. It's dirty statistics. Dirty. And then number 7, if you wanted to make a bar chart using that data, which would be appropriate, you'd have Canada, Mexico, UK, France, Russia, and maybe go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. These are percents. So Canada is like 56%, so like this. And Mexico is like 52%, so it's a little bit shorter. UK would be 40%, a little bit shorter. Trying to make those as width as close as possible. 28 here, and 25 here. So it looks something like that. So you label it on the bottom, the percent's going up to 90%. So pretty straightforward. Everyone happy about that? Okay. Can I turn the page? Okay, again, this would be good review because come quiz that you'll have Monday next week. You get to use that on the quiz as well as each other on the entire quiz because I won't be here to monitor it. So I didn't think it would be easy for the sub say, hey, make them do the first 20 minutes on their own and after that we will compare, show, and revise. I'll just make the whole thing compare, share, compare, and revise. So the following is an excerpt of a summary of a research study provided in the mass media. So the study co-authored by Kendra Ray, a doctoral student, and Juan Munoz, an assistant teaching professor in the Department of Nutrition Sciences, invited 39 adults ranging from 18 to 59 years old to participate. Markers, paper, clay, and college materials were amongst the tools offered up for the participants, who were instructed to create whatever they pleased over the course of 45 minutes. With no further directives, an art therapist was on site in case the participants had any questions or concerns. This does not seem like a fun activity, but someone had to. Before crafting commenced, researchers recorded the cortisol levels of the study participants. Cortisol is a biological indicator correlated to stress. The higher you control cortisol level is, the more stressed you probably are. After the craft party, researchers again tested the participants' cortisol levels. Approximately 75% of the participants displayed lower levels of cortisol, indicating lower stress levels. Okay. So they got to do an art project with no directions. All right. In one sentence, summarize the results.
The art project made you feel better.
Yeah, art made you less, made you feel better. You're more calm when you're doing an art project. Age was recorded for each person in the study. Explain why age is continuous variable. Why is age continuous? Yeah. So you all might be close to the same age, 16, 17, 18 years old, but your days are different. The time you were born is probably different. If you were both on the same day, you might have different times. So that's continuous. And then, yeah.
Was it continuous?
Oh, because if you monitor everyone's age, like even if somebody was 45 years old and you had multiple people at 45, they might not have been born on the exact same day. And even if they were born on the exact same day, it might not be the same hour, minute, and second they were born as well.
And time zone.
Yeah, time zones, all kinds of things. And then number 10 says, on your technology, look up the units of cortisol levels. Would this measure appear to be quantitative or qualitative? You don't necessarily have to look up cortisol levels, but I mean, I guess you could if you all have the technology to do it. So cortisol levels, quantitative or qualitative? Is it a quantity or is it a qualitative? It's a quantity. It's a numeric value. And if it's quantitative, it might be continuous because somebody has a cortisol level of 55 and someone else is 55. It might not be exactly 55. You have really precise blood information. So that's what we got. All right. So my friends, you cover everything that we had. So far, that's perfect. Thank you. So far we've kind of covered ways of looking at data. Okay, pie or circle graph or a pie graph. Everything has to add up to a percentage. The size of the pie piece represents the percent of the circle that you're dealing with. Never 3D. You know, you talk about a histogram versus a bar graph. They're different, though they look similar. So just make sure you know the difference. You know where in your notes where certain items would show up. And those are the questions for all of that. So I'd say the rest of the period is yours. Tomorrow we're going to go talk about 9 or the next section. A couple things just so you know that are on the agenda. If you ever happen to be absent, just go on to Schoology, find the lesson that was recorded. It's not quite as good as being here in class, but at least might keep you up. If you ever miss or you ever have a 0 on a homework, just get it done and show me. I'll make sure I get the 4 points in for you. Yeah. I think so. And if anyone needs to go get the workbook, you can go now to go get the
Wait,
workbook.
I was first.
You guys post on this.
I was first all that.
Uh,